Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
It's Banana Mouth JD. It's an
Okay.
interesting limited edition variant of JD where he decided impulsively to take a bite of his banana right as we were starting the show and managed to successfully mush it up and get it down just in time to tell everybody that he got his banana out of the way. And he probably could have just not said anything, but you know me.
I mean, I like this variation of JD. I didn't know there was a banana mouth option, but we could have been doing banana mouth JD for the past 3 years. That would be
I'm
great
look.
if it was just like a fun fact that you mushed a banana
I'm
before
co-
every line.
I'm coming with the health today, Michelle. I got two bananas. I got three mandarins. I already housed one of them guys before we went on the air. Fruits, fruits, fruits. Trying to be a little bit. So I still got that sweet tooth, I got that sugar blood, but
Mm-hmm.
this is at least a little better for you than factory sugar. So,
You need to get some protein in there, though, so that your
oh, I had a
body
lot
can
of.
digest it.
I had two pork chops for supper tonight. I'm doing real good.
Excellent.
Oh yeah.
Then you're good.
Let me tell you this: protein and fats and my macros across the board are great. they're
I
all
went
probably too great. Is maybe the problem.
I went to a nutritionist several years ago, like 3 years, I think. And I was surprised to learn. I was like, I eat a lot of raw fruits and veggies. And she's like, well, what about your carbs and your proteins? I was like, what do you mean? I eat a lot of raw fruits and veggies. Is that not good enough? And she's like, you need to like look at each thing as like a percentage, and each one has to have a percentage of protein and this and this. And I was like, you mean I can't just live off banana? And she was like, no, you cannot just live off banana. And I learned some stuff that day. So
Yeah,
now I know,
yeah.
not just banana and a handful of nuts.
Banana and a handful of nuts. That's today's T-shirt. We already got it. 2.5 minutes into the episode, and we already got the T-shirt. Banana and a handful of nuts.
As recommended by We Watch
Not getting
Shudder,
any better than
banana
that,
and a
guys.
handful
Shut it down.
of nuts.
Shut
No.
it down. Let's
Yep.
go home.
We might be right that it might not be getting better than that, but we shall see.
Oh, interesting commentary there, Michelle. We're talking about a new movie today, found footage movie called House on Eden. Is which I'm just gonna jump to this part right away, just because the title is right there. They say in the movie, when they talk about it, they say the House on Eden Road, but then the movie is just called House on Eden. Why wouldn't you just call the movie House on Eden Road? Okay, I got it out. We can move on.
It's a little more mysterious if it's House on Eden, but it's also not on a road, which we'll get into. That's like a significant portion. There is no road.
You make a good point. Okay, well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. On Eden is the movie we're talking about. A Shudder exclusive. As with all Shudder exclusives, we take, well, Michelle this time around took a moment to consider if we were going to cover this one, and I said, hell yes, we're going to cover this one, Michelle. I didn't know jack about it, except it was a found footage movie called House on Eden. Michelle, you obviously, as always, knew more about this than I did going in. What did you know?
I knew too much.
Why don't you tell people what you told me about it earlier this afternoon, after I had already unfortunately committed myself to this being wow, did I say unfortunately committed myself? I guess we're already giving things away here. Anyway, tell these folks what you told me.
There were a lot of reviews on a lot of different horror sites about this movie, and a lot of the time I ignore those because I want to not let it change how I might feel about something. I don't want to negatively flavor it. However, I also know who Selena Myers is, so it's stuck in my head of, oh, the TikTok lady made a movie with another TikTok lady, and it was bad. And I think that's stuck in there particularly because I just had that experience with Jay Wow of Jersey Shore fame. Her movie was, I don't have to talk about it.
Say it
But
ain't so.
Yeah, I like to like movies, especially if they're made by smaller creators, and so I was really scared how I would feel about this one. Because what if I didn't like it, you know? And then I had to trash this movie that was made by just like two ticker talkers trying to live their
Yeah,
best life.
I didn't know anything at all about it. I hadn't heard anything. Do you mind if I say read just one little bit of the message you sent to me about it
Oh
earlier
yeah,
today, Michelle?
yeah. I just could not remember what exactly I had said.
Let's see here. Okay, so this doesn't exactly say what I thought it did. I thought you had said something about I'm curious as to why Shudder had acquired it, but that's not what you had said. And I was going to say, well, the obvious reason why they acquired it. See, I did not know who made this movie. I didn't even recognize that it was Call Me Chris until she said that she was Call Me Chris, and I was like, wait a minute. And then the other girl was like, I'm like,
Selena
Selena
Spooky Boo.
Spooky Boo, and I was like, okay, that's a TikTok name. And so these two combined on YouTube's they have like a combined 15 million subscribers.
Yep.
On Instagram, they have about a combination of 8 million subscribers. And on TikTok, holy fucking shit, between the two of them, they have almost 80 million followers.
Yep.
Call Me Chris has 50.7 million. Selena Spooky Boo has 28.7 million. Now, I have heard of Call Me Chris because she occasionally pops up in my Facebook feed because they give you that whole, oh, here's some reels that you didn't fucking ask for. Maybe you'll like them anyway. I had never heard of Selena Spooky Boo, but holy shit, 50 million point seven for Call Me Chris, 28.7 million for Selena. That's why Shudder bought that movie.
Yeah.
Like that's there ain't no and I realize now, like I said, that wasn't the question you had asked. That's what I, for some reason, that's what I interpreted. But
And you
no,
went and
now
did
I
research to answer a question I didn't ask.
yeah. So well, shut up. No, it's not that. It's I've kind of figured you probably already knew. I just was like, oh, it's that Call Me Chris lady. I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't think she looks
Well,
the same in any two photos of her I've ever seen in my life.
Chris or Selena?
Chris.
Yeah, I agree with that because I
She
had
it's
also
weird. Like she looks slightly different, and I don't mean in like a like I guess probably there's, or at least possibly there's some filtering involved, but just like I don't know, man. I didn't recognize her at all in this.
I have a really hard time telling people apart when they change their hair. But at the same time, like even my husband will go get a haircut and take like 2 inches off, and he comes home and he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "What? What changed? What are you asking about?" Like I don't recognize people unless they, or like if they change their hair, but I also will not recognize that they changed their hair. I'll just have to hope that their face still seems familiar to me. And so, yes, every time she changes her hair color or the style just a little bit, I forget who that lady is. I have like no recognition. I'm like a baby playing peekaboo, but instead of a blanket in my face, and then a person showing up, it's a different person each time with just slightly different hair. And I'm like, whoa, new person
Michelle,
each time. Yeah? Uh oh. Uh oh.
are you
I hear
there?
you. Yes? Do you hear
Okay, I'm not
me?
sure what happened. I just stopped hearing you for a moment, but I hear you now, so let's just keep on going.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Do you
Okay.
remember? Do you remember what you were talking about?
Hair.
Oh,
Should we get into the IMDb
oh
description?
yeah. Just quickly, I did want to point out. So the third party involved in the main creative team on this film, because Selena and Chris, like Chris is credited as I think both writer and director, but
Correct.
it's also obviously very much improvised by all three of these performers. Jason Christopher Meyer, who is the third one, just did some quick searching, and this is the movie guy, right? This is the guy who he's made a bunch of music videos and stuff, I guess. So this is the guy that they brought in clearly to be like, hey, you know a little bit about how to do this. We want to make a thing. We need a little bit of expertise. And so I didn't take a look at what specific music videos he's done, but I was curious if he suddenly hit me. I was like, I didn't look to see if this guy was a podcaster or whatever also.
TikToker?
Yeah, TikToker, YouTuber, whatever, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the kids are doing these days.
Yep. Those crazy kids.
So yeah, why don't you fill people in on the descripty script for House on Eden?
Okay, House on Eden, according to IMDb. Setting out to film their next paranormal investigation, Chris, Selena, and Jay encounter a malevolent ancient spirit that resides in an abandoned house deep in the woods. House on Eden 2025, rated R, an hour and 18 minutes. JD,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to get your spoiler-free thoughts, please.
Uh, okay, my spoiler-free thoughts. Look, let me be very, very clear. I never intend, although I'm not the best communicator in the world. I don't want to intend to downplay anybody's efforts. These are some folks who said we've got a following, we've got some access to some resources. We're gonna go out and make a movie, and I applaud their ambition and what they attempted to do here. Here's what I will say in the kindest of terms. There is absolutely nothing that happens in this movie that I haven't already seen in at bare minimum 3 dozen other movies. Uh, the unfortunate thing that I have to say about it is this movie brings absolutely nothing to the table that was interesting to me at all. My favorite thing about it is that it's only 78 minutes long. I will never watch this movie again. One skull.
Wow. Did not expect a one. Okay.
Michelle, this movie is again, this is just my experience with it. Look, you got to understand, I don't really care for found footage in the first place. And so you got to really work hard to impress me there. And this felt like we're just going to take that formula and count on our charm and charisma that has made us TikTok stars translating into being a found footage film, and it just didn't work for me at all. I wasn't these characters didn't resonate with me. I didn't care about them at all at any point whatsoever. I got absolutely nothing out of this but 78 minutes of my life.
Yep.
All right, so that's my spoiler free thoughts. Michelle, what are your spoiler free thoughts?
Yeah, so they clearly set out to make a movie, and
No
it's
shit.
an hour. Let me
I'm
finish.
sorry, that's just a great choice of words.
They clearly set out to make a movie, and they filmed at least an hour and 18 minutes of footage, and that qualifies. One skull.
Ooh, one skull for Michelle as well. It's been a while since we both didn't enjoy a movie to this extent. Now, as is always the case with things like this, I do want to point out immediately that right now the cumulative score for this movie on Shudder is 3 out of 5 skulls. I do see several very positive reviews in the review list here. A couple of 4s, couple of 5s. So people are enjoying this movie. You may enjoy it.
No, they're not. It's a 3.7 on IMDb. People are not enjoying this.
Michelle, are you suggesting that all of the 4s and 5s that I'm seeing right now as I scroll through the member reviews on Shudder, are you suggesting what those are, like Nigerian bots or something?
Yeah.
You think Nigerian bots?
Canadian TikTok bots.
You think Canadian TikTok bots give a shit about the review score on Shudder?
If they're Chris and Selena being Canadian TikTok bots, then yes.
You think Chris Collins and Selena Myers are hiring Canadian TikTok bots to boost the score of their movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
they got those TikTok bucks. They can afford it.
50 million TikTok followers, a lot of TikTok followers. So who knows? Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's our spoiler-free thoughts. We are going to talk about some spoilers on the movie. So if you do want to go watch it without any spoilers, this is where you're going to want to put a pause on the episode. I promise you, there's nothing in this movie that can be spoiled for you because you have seen literally all of it so many times before.
Yep.
Michelle, you wanna summarize good old House on Eden for the folks who maybe didn't go watch it?
I don't know if I want to, but I will because it is my role on this podcast. Okay.
One of
House
many,
on.
not you, one of many.
I
You also
also
pay for everything.
alphabetize. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I do. I have no money in my bank account
I
thanks to
pay
this
for the
podcast.
website. Some of it.
That'll get transferred to me eventually. We both
Wow.
know.
Wow. Wow.
I actually thought I was already paying for the website, but I think I'm just
I
paying for
think it
like
got
20 other
transferred over to
websites.
mine at one point because something went wrong with the connection to your bank, so it wasn't processing through, and it just never went back.
Oh no, I gotta go reclaim that.
There's
That
a
way I can say I
behind the
really
scenes
do pay
shit
for
that I can
everything.
just feel the listeners tuning out in fucking. Well, I was gonna say in droves. That's definitely not the case, and then I was gonna say by the
No.
dozens, and that's probably not the case either.
No, we are the House on Eden of podcasting.
Wow, you are
Okay.
fired! Holy shit! You take that back right now, man.
No, it's very funny to me, so no. I'm in roast mode. I have to be in roast mode if we didn't make the decision to back out on reviewing this film, then I have to be in this mode.
To be fair, Michelle, I probably would have made that decision if we had time.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, House on Eden, summed up. Okay, Chris and Selena play themselves. Because of course they do. Which, okay. They are people who are ghost hunting, and this is a found footage movie, and I love found footage movies, and yet every single issue I have with found footage movies can be found in this footage. So Chris, Selena, and some dude, they're going to go to a graveyard and do a ghost hunting thing. And then on their way out there, Chris reveals to the camera, because this movie believes that only things can happen on camera, like with them speaking directly to it, or like watching footage, like the person has to watch footage in order for us to see it. It does not understand how found footage movies work. Like anyway, I'll get into that later. She explains to the camera, like, hey, I'm surprising them and I'm taking them to a different place and it's really cool and no one else has been there before. And then as they're driving, everybody eventually finds out that, whoa, they're going to a different place. And then Chris is kind of a bitch about it and everyone's like, hey, you're kind of a bitch about it. And she's like, yeah, but I'm right. I heard about this place online. And at no point do we ever get any information about what that means. Did she see a forum post? Did somebody message her to tip her off? What exactly did she hear online? Because she says there was a woman who went missing in the woods. And that is all the information that we ever get to justify her breaking and entering into a house later in this film. So, yeah. For all I know, she saw a Zillow listing and went, oh, there might be ghosts there. And then that's what set them on this adventure. It's never explained, like, what other things we have to go on. And when she talks to a gas station clerk to ask them, like, hey, you heard about this house? The woman's like, yeah, it's abandoned. Nothing about like, oh, don't go there, because it's just like, yeah, nobody lives there anymore. It's just a vacant house. Like, okay. Anyway, so that premise immediately irritated me. And then they play hide and seek in the woods because this movie is like, I want to do some fun shenanigans. And I want to let the two ladies have their vibrant personalities come out by playing hide and seek, and it'll be really fun. And it's not. And a bunch of shit happens that I don't care about. And then they wind up at the house, which they had to walk to, which I get it. I also hate walking, but it's not on a road. It's not a House on Eden road. There is no road. What is it on Eden? But like, they had to just have the word Eden in the name for other reasons. It could have been called Eden House. Did you think about that? Could have been a much bigger mansion named Eden House. Didn't have to be House on Eden. So they make their way out to this house on Eden. And they're like, whoa, nobody's around. And they're looking everywhere and they're like, whoa, nobody's around, but it's fully furnished and very clean, but there's no power or water. So clearly no one lives here. We're going to break in and do ghost hunting stuff. And they're even like, wow, it's so clean. And I think there is a movie that I would have liked much better if at some point in this movie the owners came back and they were pissed to find these ghost hunters in their clearly not abandoned house. It's not dusty. It's nothing. They're just like, whoa, nobody could live without electricity. Clearly no one lives here. I mean, it's rural. They probably have an outhouse and they don't need indoor plumbing, all that stuff. Anyway, so they're out there and they do some ghost hunting stuff. And they're like, what is your name? And the ghost hunting technology that they use, I actually find very fascinating in real life, and they still manage to make it uninteresting to me. It works 100% perfectly, which is also not how ghost hunting works, ever. And so any even bit of realism of the existence of ghosts, is not established. And so they do some spooky hunting stuff. At one point, Chris, winds up on the floor and they're like, whoa, you were passed out. And she's like, whoa, that's crazy. Oh, I don't know what happened. We gotta film everything. See, they did the found footage. We gotta film everything. Don't stop filming. We gotta film this. And then they try to go back and rewatch the footage, but the footage is gone. It's just a blue screen. So we don't know what happened. And then she's throwing up, and then it turns out she's pregnant. And why does that matter? Well, it really doesn't. But for the sake of the movie, the ghost entity haunting, manifesting, living in this house is Lilith from the Bible. That's why it's House on Eden. And Lilith, A, hates men, and B, is jealous of people who can give birth. So then, oh man, Chris is pregnant. Lilith, she doesn't like that. I don't remember what happens to Jason Christopher's character. Also, no, he's just Jay in the movie. So Chris Selena play themselves in Jay instead of Jason Christopher, which makes sense. If I had a 5-syllable first name, I would probably go by 1 syllable.
I imagine he goes by Jay in real life, and Jason Christopher is just his professional credits name.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I would shorten my name too. Mine is 2 syllables, and I still go by 1 syllable with my close friends. So Jay,
wait,
I don't remember
what
happens. What? I go by Shell.
With your close friends?
Oh, like family. It feels weird if people call me it. You can call me Shell, but you're going to call me Shell in this podcast, and then other people are going to call me Shell, and they're going to fuck up my day.
Oh, you clearly don't want me to call you that, so...
I mean, you can, but if it's off podcast...
I'm just gonna go banana mouth and you finish this review.
Oh no, guys, JD's going banana mouth. Oh no. Fun fact, it's actually usually because they hear a family member call me that, and then they're like, what, you go by Shell? And I go, yeah, from my family. And they go, well, I'm your family, and they start calling me that. So if you start calling me Shell, so what? So it happens. Okay. House on Eden, though. Now I've lost my train of thought because I got flustered. Jay. I don't remember what happens to him, nor do I care. Selena starts ripping off her arm. She's been chanting for a while. That kind of thing's going on. Chris, she encounters Lilith, and Lilith is clearly a scary demonic lady because she's naked and older. And that's how you can tell that a woman is up to no good, is if she is naked and not a magazine cover model girl. And then Chris winds up on the floor. I don't remember how she got there, nor do I care. I was zoning out, and I just kept pressing the time on my remote to try to figure out how much fucking movie is left. This is 1:18. I hate when I hate movies to this extent. I want to like them, especially when they're smaller creations. And then Lilith goes in, she puts her hands on Chris's womb, and then then Lilith, or whatever lady is embodying her, she slits her own throat, and now Chris wakes up, and she walks outside where there's a bonfire, clearly with witches, And they're doing some witch stuff, and then it's done. House on Eden.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. Uh, but and I guess if it was, why wouldn't they have, for some reason, for a while there, I thought the naked lady who slit her own throat over Chris's body was Selena.
What?
At the end, when Chris is laying unconscious and there's the naked lady and she slits her own throat while kneeling above Chris, and it bleeds down all over her and all over Chris's body, and then the lady dies. She's completely naked and she cuts her. Did you even see this part?
Yeah, I saw this part, but we saw that full woman. I mean, the head's cut off at that point, so it could be anybody, but we just saw that lady when she knocked Chris out like
Yeah,
30 seconds prior.
yeah. She was like way off in the distance. You don't get a good close up of her.
Oh, I saw her clearly enough. She looked like the old lady in the gas station, sitting in the wheelchair.
Oh well, maybe I just didn't see her clearly enough. Anyway,
We see Selena after that point, too. She's at the bonfire. Her body is.
uh, uh, it,
And
well,
she's got her clothes back on.
well, okay. So I paid about as well of attention as you did in most of the parts, but not all of the parts.
I am not positive it's Lilith and it's not some witch who's like conjuring the power of Lilith or something, but that's also
uh,
because this movie is lacking a lot of details
I think
that I
I don't know. I
think
think
I
that's
need.
a conclusion you can draw from those just completely out of left field shots at the end. Who set up the camera to shoot the
Yep.
coven of witches from like 6 blocks away? You know,
Yep.
who set that camera up? Why do we have that footage? It doesn't make any sense, right? Here's the other
Beautiful
thing.
bean footage.
Here's a question I want to ask. They go through this
Okay.
whole thing about like how there's this place, right? Nobody's ever been there. Nobody's ever heard of it. We'll even call these other dudes, and if those dudes haven't heard of it, then you know nobody's at. Then how the fuck did you hear about it?
Yeah. Like they never say like I found a forum post. I talked to somebody online. Like they just say nobody's heard about it and I saw it online. Fucking Zillow? Like what? Did you find a single news article and then now
You
you're
know what
going to
it?
go break into a house?
You know what it feels like to me, honestly, Michelle. And look, I could be entirely wrong. This is just a feeling it gave me. Is it felt like maybe they put a little bit too much faith in their improv skills and didn't hard write down a lot of the specific details. Like it feels like there were things that they were going to talk about in the story, like threads they started that they just never came back to, almost like they forgot that we were gonna come back and do that or something. But yeah, again, I don't. I appreciate anybody who has the ambition to go out and do something like this, and like I said, so other people have enjoyed it, but man, um, like you said, it's 78 minutes and it still felt long. It does that thing that every found footage movie does. That is a major part of why I dislike most found footage movies. Is the gimmick forces you to sit through 30 to 45 minutes of these people just being idiots in ways that don't make you care about them in any way, shape, or form whatsoever before you actually get to anything meaty going on in the movie. So, yeah, I don't even really know what else I would say. Oh, also very clearly trying to ape the ending of The Witch right there at the end, where it's like, oh, now Chris has gone off to join the witches, and her friends are dead. And
Yeah. Um there could have been a standard found footage movie that still had all of the stuff that we've seen before and are not really phased or impressed by, but it could have been legitimately just like a okay, standard found footage. I think they made a huge mistake with writer director star Chris Collins, who's never been in a full length movie before. let alone
Well,
written or directed one.
what I find funny about that statement, Michelle, is who are the they who made a mistake? She made the movie. Like, who was going to pick somebody
Uh,
else to do it?
I'm imagining this is a big collaborative effort between Chris, Selena, and then Jay, as somebody with some movie experience. I'm sure, like you said, they relied on a lot of improv, but that one person at least took most of the responsibility of
Yeah.
writing and
Well,
directing, and
I
that seems to
imagine
be
it
Chris because
started with
that's what's
her.
listed.
The way I imagine it
Yeah.
happening is Chris Collins decided she wanted to make a movie because she had 50 million Twitter followers, and that might at least get some people to watch her movie, which I'm sure it will. I'm sure there are people who will drop $6 for a month on Shudder or however much it is these days to watch that movie. But so so she's just like, well, I'm just gonna write and direct and produce my own movie, and I'll get my friend Selena to come in and co-star with me, and she can help write some of it. But like, it very much strikes me as like this was her project, right? And these were just people who came along for the ride.
I think we're just debating who's to blame for it, and I'm trying to give them
Oh
equal
no,
blame, and you're trying to blame Chris.
well, yeah, it's well, I'm not
You're like,
trying.
it's her fucking fault this exists.
She put her name on the writer, director, producer credit. If she didn't want most of the responsibility to fall on her, she shouldn't have taken most of the responsibility on herself. I'm just calling it like I see it. I appreciate
For
your
the record,
ambition, but this needed somebody with a little bit more basic experience on how to storyline a movie. Right?
if I tried to make a full length movie, it would probably work like this.
Yeah.
So I will say that I
Yeah.
get it, but man, that is a really big mistake to make to a lot of people who are going to hold you to a higher standard. And I kind of like, I dislike this so much, I feel
I
bad
don't
for
know,
her.
Michelle. I do and I don't, because I also feel like we're in a day and age, and to sort of segue this off into the idea of just their massive TikTok popularity and how clearly that influences this movie getting a budget to be made. Like, obviously it's a small budget, but even if it's just out of their pockets, these are clearly people who are, when you got 50 million Twitter or TikTok followers, you're probably doing all right for yourself. If you're not, you're fucking up some way real bad. And even I don't, it's weird that I even have to say it like that, but like, even 30 million that Selena has, only 30 million, I'm sure she's doing just fine. So they, and it's a thing where the movie is gonna get a chance to for a lot of people to see it because of that built-in exposure. But I feel like we're in a time period where a lot of online fan bases like that, like TikTok fan bases and Twitch fan bases and all that sort of thing, they feel sycophantic is not the right word. It has too much negative connotations, but it's like, if you were a sycophant and they're just really committed, appreciative fans. And I imagine there are people who are like big Call Me Chris and Selena Spooky Boo fans who this will be their favorite movie. Like, they'll come right out and say that. And I imagine with a certain segment of the population, this movie will do really well. And more power to them. It's anything that gets more eyes pointed at horror movies. And the idea that a lot of people will probably drop $6 to have Shudder for a month and watch this movie, and then they'll be like, well, I paid for it, I might as well see what else is on there, especially in October leading into spooky season. They knew what they were doing, putting this movie right here at the beginning of October.
Uh, Two things. First
End of
off, because I'm in
September, I
roast.
suppose.
Yeah. Because I'm in roast mode, I will say, yeah, I like more eyes being on horror, but maybe not this. Maybe not this being their introduction. And they're like, whoa, this is the best horror movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, secondly, this is going to be a very niche criticism that you will not understand, JD, because you do not watch Selena Spooky Boo. But I have a friend who loves Selena Spooky Boo and sends me a lot of her videos. I think she really grew to fame back when she was doing her sleepwalking videos because she has cameras inside her house because she sleepwalks and it's hilarious. And then that transitioned into her doing more skits and comedy and that kind of thing. Her sleepwalking videos are funny. However, that is where my criticism comes from because these are people playing themselves. This is Call Me Chris and Selena Spooky Boo, and they had such a great tool that they could have used in the fact that Selena Spooky Boo is known for her sleepwalking. They could have used that in this instead of her going into these bizarre trances. It could have been her getting up in the middle of the night and doing some creepy shit. They had this great tool at their disposal, and it's just the fact that they didn't use that is like they use nothing about who they actually are as real people. And I'm using that as an example because I don't know Chris and Selena's content very much outside of that, but I know that is what Selena is known for. And the fact that they didn't actually use any of the elements of who they are except for their names is just a real bummer. Like, could there have been stuff that they do videos about that, like, they're filming TikToks throughout this and it's that style? Like, I know nothing more about who they are as actual real life content creators, and therefore they were very shallow characters despite playing themselves. And that's just a real bummer.
Okay, yeah, these are the videos that you were talking about. I was like, I remember seeing like some night vision
Yeah.
sleepwalking videos back in the day. This is her. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
that's
did a
Selena
quick
Spooky
Google of
Boo.
it. Oh, that's wild. Yeah, she's got some fucking fantastic sleepwalking videos.
Yeah, because I don't sleepwalk, but I sleep talk aggressively. Like, people will think I am awake and I am not awake, and I have to tell people, do not listen to me in the morning. I am going to be a bitch and tell you that my meeting got postponed till 10. It didn't. It's at 8 a.m. I have to get up at 8 a.m. This is a conversation I have very frequently with my husband. I have to be up at 8 a.m. Make sure I'm awake before you leave for work. Do not listen to me in the morning. And he has had to argue with me while I'm asleep because I'm like, no, my meeting got postponed. And he's like, no, it didn't. No, I can see your calendar. It did not get, but like, I am a different person when I'm asleep, and I fucking hate it. And I take medication. I've done sleep studies, and it's a completely different person. But that is partially why I like Selena Spooky Boo for that content, because I feel so seen. I am also like unaware of what is going on when I'm sleeping. Side tangent. That's all. But yeah, her you know what? Don't watch House on Eden. Instead, go watch an hour and 18 minutes of Selena Spooky Boo's sleepwalking content and just giggle a whole bunch, and you will have a much better time. Just go watch her sleepwalking content. You know what? Here's the deal. I don't like this movie at all. I did not enjoy it. There were many bad decisions as far as I'm concerned. But Chris and Selena seem to be pretty good content creators. Just go watch their other content. The stuff that they do really well, go watch that. If you have not seen House on Eden yet and you are considering it, don't do that. Don't go watch it. Go watch their actual content. Give them money for the stuff that they're already doing really well. We will all just forget that this movie happened. I'm sure Chris is embarrassed by what is going on because she thought she made a banger. I feel bad for her. And instead of complaining about this movie after watching it, go watch her stuff on TikTok and give her more TikTok dollars. That's what she really wants. Just go give her those TikTok views.
I will point out that I went to look at Rotten Tomatoes. You said it was, what, a 3.7 on IMDb?
Yes.
The tomato meter, which is the aggregate critics score on Rotten Tomatoes, is 30%. The popcorn meter, which is the aggregate audience score, is 58%. So it seems like on the Shudder board is... and of course, all that fresh and like, if you are like a 3 out of 5 or higher, I think you have to be like 60% positive. That counts as a fresh review. So even if you're like 100% fresh, you might still only be 60% good. It's a weird fucking whole thing. You know what I mean? But
yes. One
Yeah.
thing that I'm curious about, since you brought that up, like you said, these are people with huge followings, people who might have gotten Shudder right away to watch the movie when it dropped. This movie just came out a couple of days ago. I might make a note to myself to go check the score again next year and see what it's sitting at as an average now that other people have just naturally stumbled across it. I'm curious how much those numbers have been influenced by people who love Chris and Selena and went to watch the movie immediately and gave it a positive score because they're fans. No problem with that. I'm just curious.
There's a 5-skull review on the Shudder website in the member reviews from a user whose screen name is War Dancers 4. It says, given the less, and I only bring it up because it makes some claim. I didn't research these, but some interesting information if it is true. Given the less than $10,000 budget and 3-person cast, and the fact that they filmed it in a week, I was very impressed. Standard found footage fun. And to me, maybe they should have given it 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
That's also a person who came into this movie with a lot of information already.
Right.
They were prepared and had an opinion. Yep.
Yeah.
Or else they looked it up afterwards because they're like, God, I hated that movie so much. Oh, well, it was just a good first attempt. Okay, I will give them a 5-skull review anyway.
Wow.
Those are the two scenarios because you do not have that level of information unless you are A, wanting to love a movie because you've heard so much about it, or B, disliked a movie so much you got curious and had to go check out stats about it.
Yeah,
to
that's
know
fair.
How much leeway do I have to give them? Oh, this was a very small production.
And based on that information, I wouldn't at all be surprised if this is a Call Me Chris or a Selena Spooky Boo fan who has been following production updates or whatever through their media, and that's how they have that information.
I told you, Canadian bots.
Maybe
Canadian TikTok bots.
It's Canadian TikTok bot. It's not like a Russian asset political bot.
No, because they're Canadian. That's why it's important that these are Canadian bots. Canada would never outsource to Russia.
Michelle?
Chris and Selena would not hire the Russians to improve their reviews. They would hire locally among their own community. Despite disliking their movie, I think they're good people, and they'd be like, wow, it's kind of unethical that we hire Russian people to do this work when there's perfectly good people in Toronto who would beef up our scores for us.
I'm sorry. I can't move on from the fact that just a little while ago you said Canada instead of Canada.
I think I was trying to say Canadian.
No, you were definitely trying to say Canada. I'm going to go back and point it out. The people will have already heard, be like, hey, remember this moment. And I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. But
no, you absolutely should. Here's the thing. My head, I sound so much smarter in my own head. It's when I say things out loud.
You sound so much smarter in my head too. I don't even know if
you know what?
Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
No, that's hilarious. And I don't know if we can have a better point to end this show on. So you know what? Say goodnight, JD.
Good night, Michelle.